Good afternoon, school director, teachers, distinguished guests, and participants.
Welcome to Culminating Project Talk Sekolah Cikal, Surabaya.
First of all, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Naila.
And my name is Bella. We will be the hosts of the Culminating Project Talks today.
Today, Year 12 students will present their culminating project. So, culminating project is a culmination of students learning which highlights the students' freedom to express interest in the area of prior learning at school.
Before we start our exhibition today, we would like to invite Mr. Hasto Pidekso as the school director of Sekolah Cikal, Surabaya to give a welcome speech. To Mr. Hasto Pidekso, the time is yours.
Okay, thank you, Bella and Naila. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, dear parents, students, and all the teachers. So today we are coming for the culminating project of year 12. And as you know that today is the significant milestone in the academic journey of our graduating student. The culminations of all their hard work, dedication, and commitment towards their projects is evident in the exhibits you see around you. So the diversity of the project presented come from the Sustainable Development Goals, and our students have demonstrated their ability to think critically and propose innovative solutions to the real-world problems. To our graduating student, I want to congratulate for your achievement. Your projects are testament of your resilience, perseverance, and passion for learning. Finally, I want to express my gratitude to teachers, mentors, and the parents. And of course, your presence is really testament of your support to our students and their projects. I hope that you take time to engage with students to learn about the project. So finally, I want to congratulate to all graduating students and once again, wish them all the best in the future and the fall. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Mr. Hasto, for your inspiring speech.
Next, our agenda is the presentation from Year 12 students. For the participants who want to ask questions to the presenter, just directly type in the chats. They will answer later. Kindly support and check the Year 12 projects by checking the booklet.
There will be two sessions for today's event. The first session will be led by Naila, and the second session will be led by me, Bella.
Okay, let's start with the first session. First, we have Hisham Darius Safian Amadeo. Hisham will present his culminating project about artificial intelligence to part the recitation of digital Al-Quran. So Hisham, time is yours.
Thank you Nala for the time. So my name is Hisham Dari Safian Amadeo, and you can call me Havi. And this is my personal project. My culminating project. Wait, uh, yes, and this is RumiQuran.com, my culminating project. It is software about artificial intelligence to correct the recitation of digital Al-Quran. And then my culminating project is related to one of SDGs goals, which is goal number 4, that is quality education. This project also motivated by several problem that I experienced while learning and memorizing the Quran, which are difficulties in learning and memorizing the Quran systematically, and then difficulties in memorizing by listening to certain part of the Quran. And then the last one is confusion of right or wrong correction of reading of the Quran. And then I came to this problem with three solution point. The first one is interactive user interface that make it easier for user to learn and memorize the Quran, and then customizable playlist that can be adapted to certain part of the Quran. And the last one, artificial intelligence is used as a listener that help analyze the correctness of the reading. Uh, And then why this is needed, because we can refer to the graph of growth of the Muslim population in the world, which is in 2060 will amount of 3 billion population, or the equivalent of 30% of the global population. And then the software that I have developed can now be accessed via the rumikuran.com website, but it's still in the development stage or beta version, uh, which note that the user interface still not informative yet, and there are several bugs in the AI system. And currently, we are in the process of developing the Android version, and will be followed by the iOS version. This is a graph of the feedback that we receive regarding the accuracy of the AI that we create. As I said earlier, there are still a number of bugs in AI system, and it still need a lot of input data training to ensure that the AI system can run properly, such as being able to better recognize and recitation of the Quran, and sort length of the reading that is correct or incorrect. And all of these improvements are impossible to do in short time with limited resource and fund. Therefore, we plan for release some of the shares. And this is the website based AI rumikuran.com product. And but as I said before, a lot of improvement is still needed in the future. Uh, so here's the demonstration. Please, the presentation. So this is the website interface. Like I said before, it's still not informative yet, but this is how the AI works. So for the example, Qul a'udzu birabbin nas, and then it will in this space. And then for another example, idza jaa nasrullahi wal fath. You can try again. Idza jaa nasrullahi wal fath. Oh, I think that's a bug. A'udzu billahi minasyaitonir rajim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Qul a'udzu birabbin nas, malikin nas. Yeah, I think we have technical issues. So next, I demonstration before. Uh, this artificial intelligence is still not. It's only basic. In the future, more massive development can still be carried out. Like the demonstration, I think we have the bug system or the hardware issues. So the website doesn't recognize my voice. Uh, because we want this project to be sustainable and productive project. Here's the business model that we have prepared. we will get income from the AdSense and the paid subscription. And then this is the marketing plan. There are three main types. The first, digital advertising, affiliate, and finally, direct cooperation with certain institutions such as Islamic school or Islamic boarding school. And so this is ruhmiquran.com market positioning, which can be called a modern method that is digitalized. So that is in upper right corner. And this is my culminating project supervisor, Miss Maharani Ayu Nurdiana Putri or Miss Nana. And then this is our team, me as CEO and co-founder of Room Quran, and my Chief Technical Officer, Zulfi Sustiantoro, as the co-founder of Room Quran. And like I said before, to be able to grow more massively and we decided to release some share to provide a cap for investor to enter. And the scheme in the display on the screen is still not absolute and can change at any time according the circumstance. And then for investment or further information, you can contact following the official email or my personal email or my personal Instagram account. And for closing, khairukum man ta'allama al-Qur'ana wa 'allamahu. The meaning is the best of you are those who learn the Quran and teach it. So that's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Hisham, for your presentation. That is a really interesting topic for your project. I want to ask some questions first. What inspired you to choose this topic for your project?
That's basically it based on my experience while learning and memorizing Quran. So yeah, that's. By the way, can I share the ruhmiquran.com website because it's already fixed. Wait, because it is very fragile with the internet connection. Kul huwallahu ahad. Nah, it will change and take and recognize what we read or recitation the Quran. And again, another example, إذا جاء نصر الله والفتح. It will detect. So I think in the when I'm demonstrate before, we have some technical issue or hardware issue.
Okay, you say that you need investor to accelerate massive growth, but why do you need such massive growth?
Wait, like this. So why we need massive growth? Because we want this from Quran to help and benefit many people. Besides that, why we are also openly blaming investor because we think this is a good that we don't want to do alone, and what we want to do this good together so that the impact is more massive and real. So you could say if we invite investor who are interested to joining us to do good together.
And how can artificial intelligence on Rumi Quran work?
Simply, it's very simple, but little bit complex. But like this, artificial intelligence can work with complex metrics and mathematical calculation by receiving a lot of data training input, so that it can distinguish between what is wrong and what is right. But for more detail, you guys can contact our official email so we can explain it further.
And the last question, can the correct and incorrect corrections of the AI software be held accountable?
Like I said before, the AI software that we release on the website is still in the development stage, or we can call it beta version. We deliberately launched it to try our system only to certain people who have been briefed, because how to not all people know how to use that website. So now we already prepared the big update for the display and overall software performance. However, it is still a secret of corporate strategy that only we can share with certain people.
Okay, thank you, Hisham. Second, we have Bella. Bella will present her culminating project about food waste as organic fertilizer. The title of her project is The Composition of Food Waste to Produce Organic Fertilizer for Scholastic Community. To Bella, time is yours.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Bella, and today I will explain about my culminating project, which is the composition of food waste to produce organic fertilizer for scholastical community. The topic of my culminating project is food waste. Now let's get into the background of my project. Indonesia is one of the countries with the highest contributor of food loss and waste, wasting around 23 to 48 million tons of food annually. Yet, ironically, most Indonesians still suffer from malnutrition and hunger. 25% of Indonesian children are stunted, and 10% of Indonesian children suffer from malnutrition. Many Indonesian households still receive and use subsidized rice from the government. It is even more ironic that the amount of food thrown away is enough to feed about 61 to 125 million people, which is about 29 to 47% of the Indonesian population. From this background, we can see that food waste is such a big issue in our country, and for this reason, it's what makes me interested to take an issue on this to take an action on this issue. So my project is based on the SDGs goal number 12, which is responsible consumption and production. The purpose of my project is to increase awareness and create a solution to food waste at the scholastical community. As a solution, composting is implemented to manage and reduce food waste in accordance with the Sustainable Development Goals. Now I'm going to explain about the materials and methods that are used to make the compost. The materials are gloves, 400 grams of sugar, 200 milliliter of EM4, which is a compost activator, 2 liter of water, compost bag, soil, dry leaves, food waste, organic food waste, including vegetables, fruits, peels, and rice. And as for the method, I use the lasagna composting method. What is lasagna composting method? It is a method of creating compost by layering organic materials in a specific order to create a nutrient-rich soil amendment. This method involves layering alternating layers of brown and green materials. The brown materials being soil and the green materials being dry leaves and food waste. My product's success criteria is based on three things, which are level of stability, the level of maturity, and the speed of degradation. Now, this is the process of the compost making. So I'm going to tell you about it. So the first thing I did was, of course, collecting the food waste produced in Sekolah Cikal. And after I collected the food waste, I had to separate between the organic and inorganic waste because you can only use the organic waste to compost. After I separated the waste, I started to prepare the materials, including activating the compost activator. After materials are all ready, I started to make the compost using the aforementioned lasagna composting method, and I and then I just wait until it decomposes. For the result, this is the observation table. As you can see the difference in the texture within the weeks. You can see the changes happening here. For example, in week 4, 5, 6, you can see that the compost is still very wet and lumpy. And if you were there, I was there, and in week 3 especially, there were actually alive maggots inside the compost bag, which is actually why the photo in week 3 is not fully opened, because, to be honest, I was a little bit freaked out. But alive maggots is actually a good thing. It means that the compost is working. So, anyways, in week 11, you can see that it's already dry. So in total, about it took me 11 weeks to finish this compost, and that is almost 3 months. For a discussion, to effectively compost food waste, it's important to consider the type of waste being used. Meat, scraps, bones, oils and fats, eggs and dairy products should be avoided. Fruits, vegetables, grains, eggshells and bread are the best options. Maintaining a temperature range of 32 degrees Celsius to 60 degrees Celsius is ideal for microorganisms to effectively decompose waste, but temperatures above 60% or 60 degrees Celsius or below 32 degrees Celsius should be avoided. So there are so many things, there are so many factors that affect the making of compost. And EM4 can accelerate the decomposition process and reduce unpleasant odors. Occasional stirring is necessary for oxygenation, mixing materials, and temperature control, but stirring too often can disrupt the composting process. So EM4 is actually used to speed up the process of compost making. Usually, it takes it can take about 6 to 12 months for a compost to be fully mature, but mine took only almost 3 months. And that is all for my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Bella, for your great presentation. Before we continue to the next presenter, what is your suggestion so that your project can run for a long time?
I think the best way to make this project run for a long time is to involve the Cikal community. Obviously, I created this project for our benefits as a community, and if anyone cares about the issue of food waste as much as I do, or if anyone is interested in composting, you can definitely help me continue this project. The project is already finalized and it's available in the greenhouse for everyone in this community to use. And if anyone wants to continue composting, this can be a new great this can be a new great composting system to reduce food waste in our school and make Cikal Surabaya more sustainable.
Okay, thank you, Bella. Before we continue to the next presenter, we have confirmation from Hisham answering Miss Dia Anggreni's question. Hisham explained that the Android application was still under development and the services on the website were still under development. In the future, of course, rumiquran.com will be targeted at commercial users. Okay, next we have Timur. Timur will present his culminating project about simulating a smart traffic light model on a real life road. So Timur, time is yours.
Okay.
Okay, so first of all, hello everyone. My name is Samudra Timur, and the video you just saw was one of my product of the simulation of the model that I was using. So the project that I'm doing is simulating an applied smart sensor-based trigger traffic light on a real-life road. So first of all, there's gonna be a lot of explanations about technical stuff, math, and programming. So yeah, I'm just gonna give you a bit of heads up before. So the background of this is obviously no one likes traffic jams, and including me because I have to commute over like 40 kilometers every day from school to home. So of course I'm gonna be one of the people that hates traffic jams. And to expand more, traffic jams are basically happening everywhere in the world, especially in Surabaya, and a lot of it has to do with infrastructure, like how the government built the road and stuff, but there's always a way that a potential solution could be made to help deal with this issue. A lot of times, empty greens or time where a traffic light is green but there are no cars passing through the intersection is one of the reasons that Indonesia's traffic system is not completely optimized. By using the traffic model that changes based on the traffic demand, it is possible for a lot of those empty greens to be eliminated because a section with a green light has no car passing through will change its light to red. So it completely eliminates like useless time. A fun fact or a not so fun fact, do you know that there is a research mentioning that long red light time may cause people to be more inclined to pass through a red light? This is a research based on Stuart Gordon and Douglas Robertson, a study of driver non-compliances with traffic signals. And it is this is the link of the project, and you can also see the first page of the paper when you go to my exhibition. And of course, so the aim of this project is basically to improve traffic flow on one of the critical points of traffic in Surabaya and to promote a better traffic system by decreasing unnecessary queue and letting an inefficient green light. So I've talked about critical points and what are actually critical points. It basically means that this model can't be applied in just anywhere. Although theoretically it can, there are intersections where it is best to put this model in. These kinds of intersections has a significant vehicle density ratio in a certain sequence of time. And from the left side of the diagram, you can see that it has a ratio of 1 to 1 to 1 to 1, which means that all part of sections has equal amount of vehicle density, which means in a span of time there's like a certain number of vehicle which is similar to the other sections. And for the right diagram is 3 2 or 1, which means that there is part of the section that has more or denser vehicle ratio than the other part. And as you can see in this case, there's like the left part of the intersection is empty while the other is full. Of course, it's not going to be like a whole number like this one, but this is just one of the example of what it means by like critical points. And so based on the previous factor, I chose this road, the Dinoyo Policy Istimewa three-way junction. Uh, the reason this road is chosen is because there are times where the southern section is running on an empty green, which wastes traffic time. And as you can see from the uh, picture of the maps, it can be observed that the area that is the most traffic driven to the three-way junction is the three-way junction itself and the intersection of the Surabaya Malang Road. There are times where it was observed that the three-way junction caused roadblocks on the intersection of the Dharma Road and Surabaya Malang Road on the because of how long the queue was, where it disrupts the flow of traffic on the Dharma Road and Surabaya Malang Road. And so here's the satellite view of the three-way junction. In the west or the left part of the screen, we have Policy Istimewa, and the northern part and the southern part, we have the Jalan Dinoyo, the Dinoyo Road, that is separated in the middle. And so here comes the math. So of course I'm not gonna explain it all because it's gonna take a long time, and the process itself like has like 4 stages. But it basically this one is basically calculating how many vehicles per minute the section has. And for the so we basically use like the government official government website to calculate how to see how many cars are there in a day, and basically make some kind of a formula to find how many of that how many of cars per minute that is present in the intersection. And from there we use it to you make a time-based calculation of it. So this is the process of making the model for the time-based model. And from the U.S. Federal Highway Administration, it basically told to estimate the total number of vehicles in a queue, divide this number by the number of lanes, and multiply the result by 2.5 seconds. But in this case, we multiplied again by a delay factor of 1.8 because there are times where um, vehicles are just a bit too late to go on a green light because of factors such as like uh, pulling out like the clutch and stuff. And from the formula, we found that the north part needs 25 seconds, south part needs 19 seconds, and the west part needs 32 seconds of green light time, and it is rounded to two significant figures. And now onto the designing of the process. I designed the vehicles and traffic light on the right. We're using a more like a simple design, like a stylized design of the cars. This was used because I want to focus more on like the mechanism and the technicalities of the model, not just like making like like a design that is like so good that it like distracts. I mean, yeah, it basically I don't want to make it too distracting. And for the road design itself, first I of course use the screen capture of the road that I used before, and making it into and outlining it with like red lines. From there, I basically made the stylized version of the road with a simpler like shapes and like colors. And now onto the programming. So the conditions. How do we detect cars? In each section, there is something called a bar. This is used to check whether there is a car or not. By using this, it can form some kind of a hierarchy on which section should be prioritized. If a section detects a car in the second bar, the further bar, it indicates that there's a longer queue in the session, which the system can prioritize. And what if everywhere is packed? There's actually one of the comments, what the responses, but here's the answer. Of course, this might cause an issue if the road is all equally jammed. This might have been avoided by referring to the critical points of choosing the road that we can use in the page previously, but there's always a chance that every section being densely packed is happening. So to prevent green light from running forever, there is a time limit of 20 seconds. And another solution is making a smart time-based system model that counts how dense the traffic is in and calculating the light runtime with that. This a more like this like a more smarter design of the time-based system, but because my subject doesn't really touch on that, so I don't really talk about that. And for the programming, to put it simply, based on the factors from before and from the conditions from before, I put it on Constructory. It is a gaming developing software which everyone can use, but there is also limitations of it has like a limit of uh, like 50 events for a free account. So it that is also like one of the uh, challenge of this project. And I made like the priority charts of it, like green light, just two bar section and one bar section. For the red light, it's the time limit, so it prioritizes time limit. If it reaches the time limit, it will turn green. And for one bar section and an existing two bar section, the bottom right is like the screenshot of the programming thing. It is basically what the programmers see. Of course, in the game, you won't see like the blue stuff. It is just for collision, which means that no object can pass through that. And now onto the analysis. As you've watched the video, you've seen that I've basically summarized all what is in the video here. It is basically the efficiency. It is going to be measured by the formula of VP divided by VI over interval minus one. And this used to see the ratio between the vehicles that pass the intersection versus the vehicles that are queued in interval of an intersection. The bigger the amount, the more efficient the model is. And as you can see, the time based has a zero point 0.6 efficiency rating, and trigger based has a zero point 0.7 efficiency rating, and it is summarized with four significant figures. And so, based on the efficiency rating before, it has been proven that a trigger-based traffic light system is more effective than a time-based system that is used by almost all of the systems everywhere in the world. Conceptually, it already showed the potential if all the logic and calculation are correct. By eliminating the waste of green light because there are no cars that are passing through the intersections at that time, it will immediately switch to another section. And if hypothetically in a traffic interval, it just saves about 5 seconds, which it has potential to save even more. And an interval is averaged about 30 seconds in a day, it can save more than 4 hours of traffic light. And now on to the success criteria and how I evaluate my project. For the game to be deemed as successful, it needs to be finalized, which it did. And you can actually play with the game tomorrow in the exhibition. And second, the game runs smoothly. The third, the game demonstrates what it intended to do, which is the mechanics, telling the mechanics and how the traffic light works. And fourth, the game has a very appealing design, and it'll be talked about after. And for the video, it is the material is in the video is conveyed well and sufficient information to be deemed as successful. And now for the responses and the reviews for the essay designs, how people rate the designs. It has mode of 6 with an average of 6.2, which means that that has a lot of positive responses. And for the video understanding, it has an average of about 5.9, and which means that it also has a lot of positive uh, feedback response. And for the thoughts, what people think of the concept. Most people think it might be more effective than the current system, and some think that it might be less effective than the current system. And most people would like to see this kind of system in Indonesia. And so these are the responses of why people think it's more effective or less effective. So people think it's more flexible, and this is the comment of people who think that it is less effective. They said that it'll be more complicated in the business area when traffic jam is possible to happen very frequently. This, of course, can be solved with the actual choosing. So prior to like applying this model everywhere, you need to you need to basically like choose where the model can be applied the most efficiently and not just everywhere, because yes, it can be very complicated if it's not like applied correctly. And so most of this response in support, and of course there's actually some people who propose their own idea which can actually be developed. And yeah, so based on all of the responses and all of the feedbacks, best, both products are considered successful. The game has been finalized and it runs relatively smoothly for its use to demonstrate the system itself, especially the mechanics and stuff. And the video was successful, getting a total rating of 86%. And these are all the references that I used for this project. Most of them are papers about programming and traffic lights, and it helped me create this project and finish this project. And yeah, thank you very much for your attention, and I hope you all have a great day.
Thank you thank you, Timur, for your presentation. That was a really interesting topic to explore. So my question is, who has helped you the most with this project, and what is the biggest challenge for you?
In the management side, of course, my mentors and my supervisors helped me, like Miss Diba and Miss Hana, helped me like organizing, basically planning like the time management, of course. because there are times where I was like late on doing some stuff and they helped me on doing this kind of stuff. But in technical side of things, most of them are people that I do not really know because they are like from YouTube channels and they help me in like problem solving, like for stuff that I'm not sure about. And yeah. uh, Before, can I answer one of the comments before the second question? Oh yeah. So there's a comment from Ranti Maria. She mentioned that what happens if something happened, like there has to be an ambulance or fire department that needs to be prioritized, or an accident occurs. And based on the law, there's an ambulance on emergency or a fire department on emergency is allowed to pass through a red light. And so like without actually like doing like the like seeing the model itself, like using the making sure like everyone has a green light, like a ambulance is already allowed to pass through a red light, so everything is fine. And of course, because like we Indonesians, like I've seen a lot of like ambulance going through red lights, and people respect their like their work, and so they always gave like the way for ambulance and hope for the people who's inside to survive. Thank you very much for the question.
Okay, thank you, Timur, for your presentation. So for the next presentation by other students will be led by Bella. To Bella, time is yours.
Thank you, Naila. Now let's continue our presentation and talks. For the next presenter, we have Happy Sri Solihatul Hidayah. Happy will present her culminating project about organic lip balm from natural ingredients. Her project title, an organic tinted lip balm made of natural ingredients responding to the dangers of rhodamine B found in lip cosmetic. To Happy, time is yours.
Thank you, Willa. So, good afternoon, everyone. I'll be presenting about my culminating project. It is about an organic tinted lip balm made of natural ingredients responding to the dangers of rhodamine B found in lip cosmetics. So, for the introduction, in general, lipstick is made out of three basic ingredients, which are wax, oil, and pigments. The consensus is that there are so many lipsticks with prices below 30,000 rupees are sold in the market, and in fact, cheap products have a higher risk of danger. But it is unfortunate that many brands still use harmful pigment ingredients for already in lipstick. For example, rhodamine B or K10, which are generally used for textile coloring. And in this research project, an organic product has been developed using natural ingredients containing shea butter, castor oil, tea tree oil, butterfly pea powder, and oat powder. This so in general, lipstick is made of three basic ingredients, which are wax, oil, and pigments. The consensus is that there are still many lipstick with prices below 30,000 rupiah are sold in the market, and in fact, cheap products have a higher risk of danger. But it is unfortunate that many brands still use harmful pigment ingredients for our body and lipstick, for example, rhodamine B, K10, which are generally used for textile coloring. In this research project, an organic lip product has been developed using natural ingredients containing shea butter, castor oil, tea tree oil, butterfly pea powder, and beet powder. So this project aim to promote and ensure a healthier lifestyle of using daily cosmetics, especially lip products made of natural ingredients. And the goals and purposes mainly addresses providing goods or products with least negative impact to the climate, environment, and people's health, which is a match the Sustainable Development Goals number 12, which is responsible consumption and production. And for the research methods, I use both quantitative and qualitative research to support the project and gain the objective stance from the audience. The quantitative research or the survey conducted by using Google Form as the media. And the survey was about the audience's experiences of using lip products and their type of lip products preferences. This will be helpful for deciding the ingredients, color, and texture for the product later. And for the qualitative research, the interviews, I interviewed one of the BPOM, someone who works at BPOM at the inspection division. So she's very much um, used with this kind of method to determine which cosmetics that are safe to use and not. And for the experiment, to test the presence of rhodamine B because it is the main objective of the experiment. And if the rhodamine B is present, yellow or orange fluorescence will appear in the solutions when lighted by ultraviolet light. So I took 5 samples, and the samples are priced below 30,000 rupiahs or 20,000 rupiahs. So among these 5 samples, there are only one samples that is clearly contained rhodamine B in their ingredients. So it came from the sample M, and apparently it is one of the local Indonesian brand of of cosmetics. And responding to the problems, I try to make my own organic lip products, and I made it using shea butter because it helps soften and smoothen dry skin, castor oil chemically used to keep the wax melted, and tea tree oil as a suitable antimicrobacterial preservative system, butterfly pea powder, and beet powder as the color-based ingredients. So I started to heat the base or the shea butter and the castor oil, and then after that I give the pigments using the butterfly pea powder and beet powder, and then the final product uh, is being put inside the lipstick tube. And the purpose is to introduce natural based ingredients products that are also high quality and safe to be consumed. So the conclusions of this project. So based on the results and discussions of the survey and interview, it is true to say that there are still many lip products circulating in the market that use hazardous ingredients, especially the dyes. Lip products that using dangerous ingredients are sold at lower prices than the market and can even pass the BPOM test, which is considered to have strict procedures. So that's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you, Happy, for your presentation. Your product looks amazing, by the way. And I have some questions for you. What inspired you to choose this topic for your project?
So it came from my friends who still buying cheap cosmetics, especially lip products, and the result was that their lips were became dark, dull, and dry, and which those cheap products technically create negative impact towards their body, which is unhealthy. But sadly, most of them are still buying cheap products, and the main reason behind it was because they're limited allowance. And that's why I kind of want to raise awareness by doing the experiment to find out what kind of ingredient that could harm them, as well as create a solutions to the main problem itself.
Okay, thank you, Happy.
Okay, thank you, Elena, for the questions. Um, maybe they can, but I don't think like um, this is like the best solutions because yeah, the for example the rhodamine bead that I experiment in, um, the rhodamine bee is used for the textile coloring. Like I mean, it already presents still from back then, but yeah, until now we cannot still adapt it to that rhodamine bee because yeah, it somehow can create our about lips become dark, dull, and dry, for example. So like yeah.
Seems we have another question.
Thank you for the thank you for the question. Um, yes, of course, it is way more expensive and more complicated because yeah, we have to make it from scratch by our own. But yeah, it is healthier, of course, healthier, safer, and it is tested to be um, safer for ourselves too. Like if you want to keep yourself healthy, then yeah, you can try to make it yourself. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, I think that's the last question for Happy. Now let's go to the next presenter. Next, we have Fernanda Yusuf Mirshah Putra Nugraha. Fernanda will present his culminating project, foldable pad carrier design. To Fernanda, time is yours.
Okay, right. Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. Today I'm gonna present to you about my project called Foldable Pet Care Design. Okay, so let's start with the background first. Back during the pandemic, I used to meet many people online from all over the world, and we share our stories about our lives. And for me, I want to know cultures outside from Indonesia. So yeah, and one of them include moving pets with some of the people out there.
moving accommodation is hard, especially when you have many animal friends to carry. So especially when you're in university and you have pets, you move accommodations a lot, and it could be quite hard for them. And you would need to buy a pet carrier and a home to keep them safe to a container for them. So you need to bring two instead of one. So why not just combine them and make it foldable and yeah, and a home? So it connects to the SDG goal 15, which is about life on land, which has a target on improving life in different ways. So this is the purpose of the project. The purpose of this project is to solve the problems that will be listed later and create an improved pet carrier. So here are the problems. Convenient pet carriers today are inconvenient to use. And before I explain, I did a survey. So here's the result. And inconvenient to use. Some pet carriers can be difficult to set up or use, which can be quite frustrating, especially when you need more time to do other things. This can also make it more challenging to transport pets when needed. So, people, my friends had a hard time putting her pets inside of the pet carrier, which made her really angry. And I want to make it easier. And next is takes a lot of space. So pet carriers are big depending on the size of the pet. Although more space is good for the pet, but in some cases the carrier has some unnecessary parts which could be removed. And poor durability. Many pet carriers are made from polyester material that are not very durable, which can be result in damage and tear over time. This doesn't mean that the polyester is bad, but its material isn't strong to withstand its damage. Here are some of the loose solutions, but not all of them are solutions to the problem from before, but some are just to get extra points for the foldable. So foldable, make it foldable. It shortens the product and makes it more simpler to use. So you can just put the pet in and just fold it inside, and it will be the carrier. Made with good materials. Good materials for a strong foldable pet carrier is plastic. Most foldable, no, most pet carrier already use plastic, but I'm inspired by that, and this would also mean that the product could be made by recycled items. And then it's safe. There will be a soft material for the folding sides of the carrier. This will prevent the animal from getting clamped, and with this, it will ease the pet owners from their pets getting clamped from the uh, folding parts. And it's comfortable. The interior of the carrier would contain beds and other soft materials, which will be useful for donkey trips and will cause less stress. Then, uh, hello, hello. Can you hear me? Okay. So let's continue. Uh, safe. Yeah, there will be a soft material which for the folding sides of the carrier. This will prevent the animal from getting clamped and comfortable for the animals because they contain beds and other soft materials which could cause less stress. Next, and we have the product stages. Uh, for starters, I need to plan the product, of course, and to visualize the design. Idea planning stage is needed, and I drew here three squares, and it can fold into one. And this was this can show the final product. This already shows the final shape of the product, and also made a prototype made out of paper to show the foldable sides to make it easier for me to design the foldable. And modifications utilizing 3D modeling software called Shaper 3D. I was able to show the idea clearly, and then the final product, make a video showcasing the final 3D design. So this is the final. I'll show you later here right now. Okay. So showcasing the product, the outside squares will fold into the middle square. So the right side will fold into the middle square, and the left side will fold on top of the both of this side. Okay, so the sides will have an attached locking system from the handle of the carrier. So you can actually adjust this. You can add another block right here, and right here it shows that it locks into the locking system on the left from the right. And when you pull this, it will actually go up, and you can change it depending on your preferences if your preference are not same as the default preference right here. Okay, so here are the highlighted areas. These are places where the magnets will be implanted. So the magnets wouldn't be on the pet carrier, it will be inside of it. And this will help the pet carrier to be kept folded and prevent accidents from happening. So it will prevent the pet carrier from unfolding itself without your intention. And yeah, there should be an extra safety feature. Like, why not? And then here's the product, a video. If you want to scan it, I'll give you 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. Here's the discussion part. So this is the feedback forms were sent to people who owns or own pets, and from reviews, pet carriers today lacks the comfort for animals and they are small. This gives an advantage for the foldable pet carrier that has huge windows that makes them feel isolated. As you can see right here, see, it has huge windows. This will contain mesh, so the pets wouldn't actually be going outside. Will not go outside. And then from the reviews, 83.3% of people would like to see this product being manufactured. So if you actually go to my booth tomorrow, I will give the design for free in the form of a file, I guess. Okay, and yeah, you can actually print it in a 3D printer if you have one. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Fernanda, for your great presentation. So, my question for you is, who has helped you the most with this project, and what is the biggest challenge for you?
So who has helped me the most is probably my friend, because I had to borrow her iPad to do the 3D modeling, and I didn't have any software before. And what is the biggest challenge is probably, yeah, making the 3D model itself. I had to learn from the start, from the bottom, and then I will work my way back up.
Okay, thank you, Nanda. Last but not least, we have Naila Aunila Inara Begum Sadat. Naila will present her culminating project. Her project is titled Reducing Child Stunting with Cookbook, Nourishing Recipes for Optimal Growth and Development. To Naila, time is yours.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Nella. I'll be presenting my project, and the title is Reducing Child Stunting by Creating a Book Nourishing Recipes for Optimal Growth and Development. So, Indonesia is facing a serious public health issue called stunting, which affects over 7 million children under 5. Stunting is characterized by a child height and below average for their age, and it can cause physical and cognitive development difficulties. The main cause of stunting is a lack of nutrition during pregnancy and poor access to healthcare and sanitation. Stunting also increases the risk of diabetes and cancer and impact IQ. Stunting rates have been increasing during pandemic, despite previous efforts to decrease them. Uh, Prevention effort should focus on the first 1,000 days of of child's life. So my project based on SDGs goal number 2, zero hunger. The purpose of my project is to raise awareness about the lack of nutrition causing by stunting in children's growth, mainly children under 5 years old. As a solution, I create a simple cookbook that can guide the mothers making healthy food for kids to help to knowing the nutrition and ingredients of each food. So I interviewed Miss Lia Azahra, a nutritionist from Pantai Indah Kapuk Hospital, Jakarta. Overall, Miss Lia said that stunting in 2019 until 2021 is decreased. Calories for each child 2 until 5 is depend, but the average for children 2 until 5 years is 1,300 calories. So I decided to make a cookbook for my product. I create a simple cookbook that can guide the parents making healthy food for kids, and yeah, to help the parents make a healthy food by knowing the nutrition and ingredients of each food. So this is my successful criteria. My successful criteria is making a cookbook. The book will contain explanation, image, and recipes about healthy kids recipes. And what is the purpose of my project is raise awareness of lack of nutrition and the negative side for children 1 until 5 years old by creating a simple cookbook. Uh, my target audience is mothers and children aged 1 until 5 in Curah Lili Village, Jember. So this is my timeline. August until September, I designed the topic and issues. Create an inquiry question starting the project. In October, completing the personal project, create research, interview question, proposal presentation. November, interview nutritionist, collect the data and information, making the recipe. December, create the cookbook, book printing. In January, share the cookbook to people who have child age 1 until 5 years old in Jember. February, start working on the journal, and March, completing the journal. Thank you.
Thank you, Naila, for your great presentation. I want to ask a question. What inspired you to choose this topic for your project?
The Culminating Project was inspired by stunting in Indonesia, especially in Jawa Timur, during the critical period of the first 1,000 days of life. Stunting is a prevalent problem in Indonesia, with an estimate 27.7% of children under 5 years old being stunted, according to National Health Survey or Reskesdas in 2018. And I hope the cookbook I made can help to decrease the stunting number in society.
Okay, thank you for your answer, Naila. Unfortunately, we are already at the end of this event. Thank you, your 12 students, for your presentations, and thank you, distinguished guests and participants, for attending this event.
For a reminder, the Year 12 students will have an exhibition about their culminating project, so don't forget to attend the exhibition tomorrow, 16 May 2023 in Multi-Purpose Hall, Sekolah Cikal, Surabaya. Thank you and see you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.